is she 33? Here we are in beautiful DC, and today we're talking to Justin. Justin, you have a fantastic study here. Can you tell me about what you got going here?
Yeah, so I started my graduate research in the field of forensic genetic genealogy. I came into school and I was immediately brought under the wing of this up-and-coming field, and it's continually growing. So my research study that I've been doing for about a year now is looking into the impact of manually degraded SNP data profiles, which is kind of the profile generated when you take a DNA test and send it to one of the direct-to-consumer DNA sites. And what I basically did was a manual degradation of the profiles because we really can't degrade a bunch of biological samples and send them all for SNP profiling because of money. Maybe that's a little plug for University of New Haven. So we did it kind of a simulated way. And what this project really analyzes is how those incomplete SNP data files affect the top 10 genetic matches. And so what I basically did was looked at some of the many tools that are useful in the forensic genetic genealogy workflow, which are one-to-many matching, admixture analysis, and many more, some that focus on relationship probabilities and that compare segments to segments. So this field kind of like is looking for the identity of either suspects or unidentified human remains. And I want to see how incomplete SNP data profiles, what kind of things to look out for when you're dealing with one, because you may, like for example, in one-to-many matching, you may lose a top match, like number 2, disappears completely. So you may be losing valuable information the more degraded a SNP data profile is. So
that's fantastic. How did you manually degrade your DNA, just out of curiosity?
So the process was established by the previous grad student who did kind of only this part of the study. And we basically took the SNP data file onto Excel, did a random number treatment of all 60,000, or actually there was about hundreds of thousands of SNPs. We randomized them all, and then we did a lot of math and just deleted 5%, then to 10%, and then increments up to 50%. So when I explain this, I'll talk about the half profile a ton. So we did it basically on Excel, which was a useful way to kind of manipulate the data and turn it into a randomized protocol.
Yeah, and so what was your major finding? Like with some of that degradation, you said there is some dropout. What is the major takeaway that you've got from
So
this?
I think the major takeaway is to kind of be wary about the degradation index when you quant a DNA sample collected at the scene. Because when you do send a sample for SNP profiling, you want to make sure you're choosing one of the best type of SNP profiling techniques. This project only looked at SNP Microarray data, but what I looked at with this is the biggest takeaway is to kind of be wary about certain tools and what they're telling you. These two tools, which AutoMatrix tool is really cutting edge and building family tree, is only affected, but it's because that the top matches are changing. So if you lose some of the top matches, a lot of these tools are going to be affected. What I also learned that if you go onto the segmental level, you're going to be actually getting some DNA segments that are actually not truly there in the first place. So you get false positive segments. You also get segments that drop out completely, like in one of the top 2 match dropout, you'll lose a complete chromosome segment at the half profile. So I guess the biggest takeaways were to kind of tread carefully with some of the results you're getting when you know you're using a sample that came from a degraded biological sample.
Sure, and then in this instance, were you using single source, or were these a mixture of DNA samples or profiles?
So this was a single source study. We asked 3 donors to get their SNP data file, and so I could use those and anonymize those. And I do think that this field could benefit from mixture analysis. It's a little bit more difficult because imagine you're getting shared centromorgan values from 2 donors, then you're attributing admixtures from 2 people, and it makes these admixture pies and these matches kind of come together for 2 people. So it's a single source, and hopefully one day we can make more of this for mixtures and stuff.
That's great. Thinking of one day, what is your future? Would you like to do in the world of forensics, being a student ambassador?
Yeah, so when I did my research, I fell in love with this. It was the slow love story of me and forensic genetic genealogy. And so I completed the certificate program at the University of New Haven, and I actually want to become part of the forensic genetic genealogy team, or a FIG team. There are a lot of terms for which one is correct in the field. And that's really what I want to be a part of, because I enjoyed this work, and I think it's doing some great work on cold cases, which are at a huge backlog in multiple states across the United States and the world. So I definitely see myself a part of this field in the future.
So being at ISHE, have you had an opportunity to meet and greet and see some of the people that are, big players in this field?
Yeah, I actually participated in helping out in a workshop led by Colleen Fitzpatrick. I went to also another workshop in investigative genetic genealogy, and I've been able to meet some of these people in person, and I'm a little nervous because I want to make a good impression, and I'm just so amazed by how much work they've put into this field and how much work they're continuing to put into validating it and establishing certifications and trying to integrate it more into state labs. So I'm always amazed when I meet, and I'm so happy that they're all here.
So I see that you're pretty excited about it. And here you are at ISHE. Would you, recommend this for any other students out there in the world who might be thinking about going into the forensics world?
I absolutely recommend coming to ISHE. So far it's only been the third day, and it's probably one of my favorite conferences I've attended. And I think it's just a great way to network and make new friends, and I'm having such a great time. So I do recommend it for any forensic science student, even not in specifically forensic DNA. I feel like you can learn a ton just by being a part of this.
That's so great. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit here, Justin, and have a great time.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll see you around. Good luck in your future.